What's up, gang? You are listening to The Quest, and I'm your host, Justin Kahn, a regular random guy who plays the role of entrepreneur on the internet. The Quest is about exploring and learning from the stories of people around me, and today I am super excited that my guest is my friend, Festus Ezeli. Festus is a professional basketball player who won an NBA championship with the Golden State Warriors in 2015. As a Bay Area resident, I was lucky enough to watch that final series live, and then later on was randomly introduced to Festus at a dinner a couple years ago. And when I met him, I was immediately struck by how curious and excited he was to learn, and we've become pretty good friends since. One of the things I really love about Festus is how he is such a positive person. Even after a life-changing injury, he's been able to focus on the positive and keep going. It's an attitude I really try to maintain in my own life, and something that I remind myself about every morning when I wake up. We talked about learning to play basketball at 15, his journey to playing in junior college and then at Vanderbilt, and finally getting to the NBA, winning an NBA championship, getting injured, and the ups and downs of life, and the most important lesson he learned from his mother. So please enjoy this conversation, and here is Festus. Okay, so what is the Festus Ezeli origin story?
Okay. You want the long version or the short version?
We want the long version. This is an in-depth podcast. We want the long version.
Okay. I can give you some of it. So, name is Festus Ezeli. I was born and raised in Benin City, Nigeria. I lived there for the first 14 years of my life to two amazing, incredible parents. They did everything to, instill this, this idea of hard work and perseverance. We started off my mom hates when I say it like this, so let me rephrase it. They worked hard to give me the best of everything. So let me put it that way. But no, they really did. Even when they didn't grow up with the best of everything, they still made sure that when they had children, that they were able to put us in schools. And one of the biggest things they did, and I think that was the thing that gave me a vision outside of where I was at the time, was going to a school. I went to a school, IEC. It was an international Ignatian Education Center. And it was an international school. And in this school, I got to see people from all over the world. I got to see white people. I got to see Asians. I got to see Indians. I got to see people from all over, people from even other parts of Africa that I didn't even know. And growing up with that sense of there being people from all over the world, but all of us being the same because we're all going through our different things. But, at the end of the day, when we're in school together, we're all going through the same things and we all think the same. You notice that we all have our different cultures, but, we're the same. My music teacher was from Ireland. He was teaching me how to play the violin when I was 6 years old. Chemistry teacher was from India. My math teacher was Chinese. There was all these different,
Wow.
Yeah, there was people from all over the world. And the reason why that's important and why that's an important part of the story is because it gave me a vision of myself outside of the bubble that I was in. I saw the world. And so just that being a starting point for me kind of makes everything else make sense. So I don't really like to say I was a smart kid, but, my parents pushed me in school and I did well in school and I skipped grades. I graduated high school at the age of 14 years old. Right.
So that was several years ahead of when you should have.
Very, 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 very fast. And, everybody else in my class was 17 years old, 18 years old. You know what's crazy, though? I just found this out. I was not the youngest person in my class.
Oh, really? So
and
there was someone
I'm kind of ticked off about it because I always thought that was my thing. That I was the youngest person. Not ticked off, but my competitive side is dang, there was someone else better.
How young was the youngest person?
She graduated at 13.
Wow.
She's actually a practicing doctor right now in Atlanta.
Awesome. So there was someone who beat you by a year.
Yes. And no, but 13 years old, graduating high school, that's insane. For me as a 14-year-old, the thing that really helped me was I was tall. So people never really knew my age. Even my classmates didn't know my age. And I didn't really want to tell them because I didn't want them to look at me as a 14-year-old. Because we're all hanging out. We're doing what high school kids do. We're chasing girls and, that kind of stuff too. And, I work hard, but I also didn't want them to lose that respect for me as well, which was awesome. But graduating at 14, it was tough because there is, there's still that, there's a misplaced of identity a little bit, right? Because I skipped a few years in grade school. And so some of those people who I was growing up with, I was still cool with them, but now I had to be friends with the older guys because that's where I'm at now, Yeah. And, but that's beside the point. I graduated, and in trying to celebrate, we decided to come to America in, August of 2004.
Okay. So like as a trip.
So my family and I, we decided to take a trip to come to the United States. Just a summer vacation, but it's also kind of a celebration and whatnot. I think my uncle sees me for the first time. I was 14 years old. He lives in the United States, and my uncle sees me for the first time. And at this point, I had aspirations of being a medical doctor. So that was always my goal since I was a kid. Like I always thought that this is what I wanted to do. One, because I wanted to help people, because the medical care in Nigeria wasn't what I thought it should be, right? Like I told you, my parents did their best to make sure that we were okay, but I noticed that there was a lot of people who were struggling as well, especially with medical care. I always thought that, when I had that ability with that power, I would be able to make change for people who were less fortunate. Now, when I came to the United States to visit my uncle, he's a medical doctor. And at some point, they came to a conclusion that it would be good for me to shadow him, go to school in the United States, because I felt like it was a better opportunity. Yeah. And, being around this person who's a successful doctor in California, that would be good for me. It'd be like, it's just like I could kind of earn my keep a little bit as well. So I ended up staying back. So after my trip was over, I stayed back. It was just me staying with my uncle. He came up with this idea. He was like, let's get you playing basketball. Mind you, I was not an athlete. I never played basketball before. And I never really played sports. We played soccer a little bit. Were you an athlete yourself? Because you look like you're in shape, man.
I'm in shape now, but I was not really an athlete. I played sports, but I was very bad. I was always the guy who was picked last. My hand-eye coordination is terrible. Yeah.
So that's what's crazy is that was me, right? Because I was a chubby kid. There's actually this picture. I haven't seen pictures. I don't really see a lot of pictures of me as a kid, but we have a group chat, me and my high school classmates. Yeah. That was just created. And so they've been sending pictures in, and there was a picture of me. And I was like, dang, people don't believe me when I said I was a chubby kid. So I'm excited that I have proof now to show them that this is all hard work, man. So anyway, back to the story. So when he told me he wanted me to play basketball. Matter of fact, my uncle takes me to my first basketball game, right? I went to watch, it's in Sacramento. Sacramento Kings versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Guess who's on the team at that point, 2004?
Right, so Kobe was on.
Kobe Bryant, right? I'm watching Kobe. I'm like, man, I don't watch basketball. I really didn't care about basketball at this time. But I know who Kobe Bryant was because even in Africa, there were kids taking pieces of paper and throwing them in the trash, yelling, Kobe. You know what I mean? So it's insane. I'm like, I'm actually here. I'm watching this guy play. And in a league where it's the NBA, so everybody's amazing in the NBA. Everybody can play. Yep. But even in a league where everybody's the best, I still recognize that this guy was head and shoulders above everybody else on the court. It was just different. When you watched him move.
That first game.
Yeah. Yeah. Even, you know how people talk about Michael Jordan, how when you see him, he has this aura around him. That's how I felt watching Kobe my first time. Yep. Anyway, the point of this part of the story is during the game, at some point, and Kobe was amazing. Like, he was the person I looked at him during this game like, wow, this is incredible. This guy, there's a reason why they say his name. He is incredible. And he actually hit a game winner that game. Like, what? This guy's insane. at some point during the game, right, my uncle's still trying to convince me to play basketball, and it's like you have to convince me at this point because I'm a nerd, right? Like I all I want to do is go to school, do what I do, and he's trying to get me to play basketball. I'm like, I really am not. I'm not ready for the embarrassment that comes with trying to play basketball. I'm not an athlete.
So he just saw you were tall, and he was like, "You should play because you're tall and you'll be good at this."
Well, he thought that his reasoning was, I'm tall and I can play, but it was more. There was more to it. He felt like I could get a scholarship to go to school.
Yeah,
converting, paying tuition is insane already, but paying tuition as an international student, there's no way it would have been too hard. But at the time, he was like, "Yo, we can, if you play basketball, you can go to school for free. You can do that." I was like, "Okay." Well, it sounded good at the time, and during this game, he says, "You never know. Maybe you'll be out here on the floor someday." I looked at him like, "Yo, are you on crack? What's wrong with you? Let's focus on trying to learn how to dribble the ball first."
Yeah. You had to get the basics.
So exactly. I'm actually glad you said that. So I had to get the basics. So what do? I'm 14 years old. I'm 15 years old at this time, actually. The plan now is, okay, how do we start? What do we do? He's like, well, you're 15, and I don't want you going to college just yet. So I want you to go back to high school. That way you have a couple of years to learn with people your age. They're still ahead of you, but at least you can learn with them, and then you can go to college because you can't just jump to college right now, So I was like, all right, this is a good plan. So he signs me up to go to a school in Sacramento called Jesuit High School. And, the season had started, so I had to wait till the following year to try out for the team. So now I'm 16 years old. I'm trying out for the team. One thing was wrong in all this. I didn't know how to play basketball. I did not know how to play ball, man. So it was kind of a shot in the dark for the both of us because we were just thinking that it was going to be a fairy tale. And no, that was not the case at all. They gave me the ball for the first time, told me to shoot the ball, and I took it and just clanked it against the backboard. It goes boom against the backboard. And they started laughing because they thought I was joking. I really didn't know how to shoot. I didn't know how to dribble. They try to run a 3-man weave. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a very basic drill in basketball.
Yep.
I thought that I could never understand what they were doing, right? Because nobody ever taught me any of these things. People learned these things when they were 5 years old, right?
Yeah. So like most of the students that were on the team had been playing since they were little kids.
And the team was really good. They were actually, ranked in state and everything. So they were actually a really good team. So it's safe to say, it's very obvious. I didn't make the team, right? I wasn't good enough because, that part is obvious. So there goes my dreams of playing basketball, right? So if you take a snapshot at that moment, I'm cut in high school. There's no chance. So what do you do next? I end up leaving the high school because there was no. I already graduated. I had my high school diploma already. So I signed up at a junior college. I was at a junior college. But before I leave this high school, there was a man that his son was on the basketball team at the time. This man's name is Keith Audister. So Keith sees me at the gym. One day I was waiting for my ride or something. I guess his son had told him about this tall African kid that was in school that was claiming to be a soccer player maybe. But, and so he comes one day to the school and he's walking with the coach. And I know this part of the story because he tells me this part of the story. He says, he was walking with the coach and he was like, man, you guys are going to be really good this year. And the coach was like, why do you say that? I said, man, you got a big kid this year too? Oh, you're going to be really good. And the coach says, yeah, we're going to be good, but not because of him. And he's like, yo, wow, what's the problem? What's wrong with him? He's like, he can't play. And he said, can he run? He asked the coach. Coach's like, yeah. Can he jump? Coach says, yeah. And what's the issue? Like, he can't chew gum and walk at the same time. and that was the thing. He's like, I was very uncoordinated. I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, so he ends up coming up to me and tells me, and, asks me questions, conversations like, yo, would you like to play basketball? And I was like, I'm not any good. I've never played before. And, me trying to, tell him before he even gets his expectations up, because everybody that sees me at this point is I'm a 6'4", 15, 16-year-old, and they assume I can play basketball. And I'm like, yo, I can't play. So just leave that alone. But he's like, no,
Yeah.
I'll help you. If you're willing to put the work in, I'll help you. And fast forward, so I ended up leaving the high school because I wasn't going to play on the team. I go to a junior college where while I'm there, now I want to focus on the academic side of things. So now I want to, get a scholarship, but now I'm going to do 2 years at a junior college and then I'm going to go to college. Meanwhile, I'm practicing with Keith's team. And while I'm at the junior college, the coach over there sees me and he's the same way. I'm a tall black dude. So everybody's like, yo, please come play for me.
Yeah.
So the coach convinces me after he sees that I don't know what I'm doing on the basketball court. He still had hope. And he said, yo, listen, just give me about a year. He convinces me to practice with their team. He convinces me that, after a year of practicing with them, I don't have to play right now, but he was going to give me time. He was going to let me practice with them. He was going to let me travel with the team, just be around them and learn the game of basketball. I'm doing this in conjunction with playing with Keith's team. So the name of the junior college coach is Doug Cornelius. And the name of Keith he has his own team, the NorCal Pharaohs, which I play with. I play with them in the summers, and then I play with the junior college team during the year, right? I kind of practice with them, rather. Meanwhile, I'm the video guy for the team. Like I told you, this story is very long. Anyway, I'm gonna try to cut it down a little bit. So I'm a video guy, but I'm also playing high school ball. It's very complicated. But 2 years of this, 2 years of practicing and working, I become the top 150 kids under 18 in the country.
So you must have seen yourself get better pretty quickly. Like you're just putting in the work and you're getting better.
Oh yeah, I actually missed one part. So my first tournament I played in, I scored against my own team because I didn't know the rules. No, I didn't know the rules. I didn't know that at halftime you switch ends of the court. I had to learn everything, bro. Like it wasn't an easy. It definitely was not an easy curve for me, and I had to deal with a lot of that. Like people were laughing. Like it was people they couldn't understand what was going on. Why is this kid? Why does he not understand? And I'm 16 years old this time, and people were like, "Yo, how do you not understand that this is what you're supposed to do?" But they didn't get the fact that I had never played ball before. And I just had to keep waking up every day and just keep working and keep working. There's so many moments. I could list a whole bunch of different moments just like that where I just had to keep going. I had to wake up the next day with people, and it kind of turned into motivation for me to be the guy, just to keep working on myself and to keep believing in myself and keep betting on myself. And luckily for me, I had people around me who also gave me those positive words of affirmation. I had an uncle who continued to support me. And, send me on these trips, on the AAU trips where he would pay and all these things. My family would pay for me as well. So, I had support. 2 years later, some of that work came to fruition. That guy who couldn't play in high school, that guy who, couldn't do any of those things, who couldn't dribble and walk at the same time, or chew gum and walk it rather. Top 150 kids in the country in high school, right? Under 18. Yeah. And I never played one game of high school basketball. I just played summer AAU ball.
Yeah.
After, I got invited to the top 150 kids camp in Philly, I think it was, the ABCD camp. It's dissolved now, but the ABCD camp. End up being there with all these superstars, and I'm just in awe, right? So we go through the camp. It's like a week-long camp. Leave there with 40 scholarship offers to go to college.
Amazing.
40 college. I'm like, yo, I only wanted one. Only wanted one, and I would have gone anywhere. And it was insane. So now I had my pick of the litter. Everybody from I had your nemesis Harvard.
Yeah.
Because you went to Yale, right?
Yep. I was Yale. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. So you went to the camp and you had like Harvard. I have
everybody from them to UCLA, USC, to Berkeley, all these different schools, which, to be honest, I didn't really know any of these schools. And I take visits to different schools, and the school that I choose is Vanderbilt. Yeah. I chose Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee.
Why did you choose Vanderbilt?
It was the best of three worlds. It was the best. It had an up-and-coming basketball program, which I was actually starting to fall in love with the game of basketball. Because I had put work in, so now I was starting to see a little bit of I still was very raw in my game, but now I was an athlete, right? Like I was, I could chew gum and walk now. So, now I was an athlete. Still had a lot of work to do, but people could see. They could see the vision now with the work that I was doing. I could jump high, I could dunk really hard, and I blocked shots like crazy. I had good instincts, but when it came to the technicalities of the game, I still needed work. So anyway, I chose Vanderbilt, best of three worlds. It was, up and coming basketball program, great academic school, top 15. It was in Nashville, Tennessee, which I didn't know anything about, but I went to visit, great food, great people, music was country music, which I wasn't opposed to. I grew up listening to country back in Nigeria. So I wanted to go see something else. I grew up in California. Now I wanted to go see something else in America. Got to Vanderbilt. I was there. When I got there, I realized that I had to start over. I had to start over on the team. I wasn't a top kid anymore. Matter of fact, I was the lowest ranked one on my team because all these guys were all people from all over the place. And they were all highly ranked, highly talented kids, and they could really play. So now I'm a practice player when I get to Vanderbilt. My first year, I'm a practice player. I'm a red shirt. And it was just one of those things where I had to wake up every day and go to practice. I wasn't going to play in the game. I wasn't going to get the shine that everybody else got. I just had to go out and play. I had a lot of work to do. I'm not going to lie. Like I had, they used to kick my butt every day in practice. I think it wasn't until my second year, like halfway through my second year, where I was actually starting to play a little bit. I was playing like 5 minutes a game. And they started to see flashes of something in practice. Yeah. And it just came from work. And then playing against the guy who I was playing, like there was a white guy from Australia who played in front of me at the time. Yeah. And he was projected to be an NBA player.
Who was it?
His name is AJ Ogilvy. Right? He plays in Australia now. But at the time, he was supposed to be. He came out his freshman year. He averaged 17 points. He's averaged a double as a freshman, as a 7-foot freshman. It was incredible. People were all over him and all about him. I think his second year he had a little bit of a drop off, but he was supposed to be the guy, and I was just the guy coming off the bench, just giving him relief, just let him get a breather. Let Festus in the game. Yeah. All right, please take Festus out the game. And it was just one of those things. I think that by the end of my second year, I started to figure some things out. People could see something. They were like, man, if he figures it out, it's going to be a problem. By my third, fourth years, I started playing more. I became the team captain by my junior year. So now they started mentioning this little buzz around me, right? Because I'm starting to have a good year my junior year. It was surreal for me because now I went from the guy who nobody knew about to having ESPN articles written about me, being on TV, all these things. It was weird, but it was also amazing because at the same time I knew where I came from. Matter of fact, there was an article on ESPN. My mom has it saved. There's an article on ESPN. The title of it was "How Did I Get Here?" Right? It was talking about me and my life and where did this come from? Talking about me being a projected first-round NBA pick and all these things. I'm like, wow. I come in my senior year, and I could have left after my junior year. I chose to come back because I felt like I wanted to win. I wanted to leave my college with a championship. Yep. I came back my senior year, and a week before the season starts, I tear my knee up. Yeah. I had an accident in practice where somebody undercut me or something in practice a week before the season starts. And this is supposed to be my year. Matter of fact, I could have done nothing this year and I would have been drafted, right? That's how it was the year for me. And I was so excited about it. But it just shows, this is how life works, right? You're supposed to, sometimes you go through these, we talk about it all, we just talk about it.
It's a roller coaster, ups and downs.
Highs and lows. And now I worked my tail off to get here and now I get an injury. And my coach is crying, everybody's in practice. Matter of fact, I blanked because I didn't even know what was happening. The last thing I remember was the coach coming off, the trainer coming off to check my knee and test my knee. And I didn't know my knee could move that direction. Yeah. And I was just dazed in that moment. Anyway, my team goes off on it. And this year, my senior year, we had a pretty good squad coming back. And we were there was a buzz around us. Kentucky had this kid called Anthony Davis who was coming in, and it was there was a lot of buzz about these two teams going against each other. It was anyway, so we're going to the senior year with all this hype. Now I get hurt. Yep. So we start off our year, we're trying to we're holding on. We're win some games, we lose some games. We're just like all over the place. And I remember I just cared so much about my team, man. I really like basketball for me. I love playing basketball. It's the thing that gives me joy because of how much work I've put in to become good at it. But the second part of it, which I never talk about, is the fact that when I came to the United States, I was alone. I was very lonely. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. It was really hard for me as a young kid. And so going through that, discovering the game, getting teammates who are really like your brothers, it gave me an extra gear of work ethic. I wanted to work hard because I wanted to be somebody. But then I wanted to work even harder because I didn't want to let my teammates down. So there was like an extra gear for me all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to like feel so sad when my teammates lost. I remember actually this one incident where they were going on a road trip. And dude, I'm a very emotional guy, so don't make fun of me. I wrote my teammates, each one of them, I wrote them a letter. Like, yo, I believe in you. Yo, like I know this is going on, but I just like we got to have each other's back. I wrote each one of them a personal letter. I'm the team captain. I'm trying to do whatever I can to give them something, to give them that juice to continue to push forward. I know I was going through my injury, but I was like, what can I do? I really I don't like to feel helpless. I hate, and you asked me about being positive. It's like, if I get negative, that's way worse for me because I feel like there's no hope now. Like, to me, faith is really just being positive, right? Yeah. So I continued to try to do whatever I could. And my teammates came, hugged me after the trip. They actually went on that trip and won the championship. There was this tournament we were in. They went and won. They came back. They hugged me. I was so happy. I was like yelling and screaming in my crutches. And came back after that trip. They kind of had a little bit of we started losing a couple games here and there, and that kind of hurt me too because I was like, man, because every time on the radio they would always say, man, if they had the big fella, they wouldn't be. If they had the big fella, these things wouldn't be happening because I had the roles that I played on the team. Everybody had their role, and as a complete team, when you miss one person, you miss the thing that he brings, right? And for us, we were a complete team, but without me, you could see the gaping hole in the things that we did. So, if you were wondering, it was defense, rebounding, blocking shots, just the big guy in the middle that just cleaned up and did the dirty work, right? That's kind of how that happened. But, we went through that little spell, and one day, I wasn't supposed to play ball again that year, right?
Yeah, it was going to take you out the whole year.
It was going to take me out for a while.
Yeah.
I was 6 weeks in, and I don't know if this is smart or not. I was just like, I want to play.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? I was like, I want to play. I don't care. Take me up. They were like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yo, I don't know if it was adrenaline. I don't know what it was. I was just like, yo, I am tired of losing. I don't care. If you know me, I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. Like, even we were talking about the 14-year-old versus 13-year-old. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be the last person, But we lost a couple games, and I was like, yo, I want to be on the court. So I hated seeing my teammates, going through that kind of pain. Anyway, I got on the court, we played against Davidson, and the adrenaline in my body, I didn't feel any pain. I didn't feel nothing. All I was trying to do was get to that basketball. And I remember I had a really good game. Hobbling. I couldn't even run, bro. I was just hobbling the whole time.
Oh, man. So you were still in the injury, and you played, and you didn't, the adrenaline carried you through.
Yeah.
And you had an excellent game.
Did. I had a great game. I think probably had like 15 points and like 9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah.
And we won that game, right? Close game. We won that game. I was so excited. After that game, my knees blew up. It was swollen. But it didn't matter to me. I was so happy that I contributed to give my teammates that win.
Yeah.
I worked my way back into the rotation. I had to take a couple games off after that. And, I figured out how to get in shape. I kind of worked through my leg. And they said I couldn't hurt it anymore, which I believed them. So I just kept going. I had to wear this big brace, and I came back, and we were playing. And I started to get back in rhythm with my teammates, trying to get in shape. There's a whole bunch of things that I had to work through. But I worked through it. And, by the end of the year, I was playing without my brace because after a while, I was like, nah, forget this. I threw that thing away. I was like, I want to play. And I started playing with my guys. And we went on to that season. And we won the SEC championship, right? My senior year, we won the SEC championship. The first time it had happened in my school in 40 years. And it was insane. And we beat the guy, Anthony Davis, in Kentucky for the championship. The team that nobody, as a matter of fact, they went undefeated the whole year. Every game we had played had gone neck and neck the whole time, and they beat us all the time. And so we finally won in the championship game, and it was like, wow, like you can win. Like championships are real. Like I only watch other people win championships. It's like watching the lottery, right? You like. It actually happens. Like it actually happens. It's a real thing that I can feel, I can experience. My coach is crying on the floor. My teammates are jumping on each other. I'm just sitting. I actually went to sit down. Like if you ever watch the video, I just went to sit down. I'm just looking around like, what? Yeah. Won a championship? Dude, I can't even play in high school.
Yeah, it's been 6 years now, right? That you've been playing basketball. You went from high school student who couldn't play, had never touched a basketball, to now winning SEC championship.
At that point, I was 16 years old. So yeah, I guess about 5 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it came from a few things. One of them is it came from a coach, a random guy on the street, a random stranger who, on first sight, to be honest, I was kind of scared because I'm a kid. Like whenever somebody comes up to you and says they want to help you, you're like, yo, what do you want, bro? And then I'm a kid, so I'm like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff on TV, but he genuinely, and as I've gotten to know him, he's actually a mentor of mine now. He is somebody who wants to help people. He's helped so many kids, maybe not to play basketball, but they've gone on to live their lives and be, men in society. And that's what it's all about. So he actually taught me something. And then I've had coaches that throughout my career, I've had, teammates who inspire me to want to get better. I say it all the time. If you give me good teammates, I will run through a brick wall for them. I don't really care. Like I'll do whatever. And that's part of the reason why, I got injured. It's like, I just go because I don't really see the limits. I'll push myself through whatever limits. Anyway, so we go through all this. We go into a bigger tournament after we win the SEC championship. We end up losing in the second round, which we were hoping to go farther. But, we won a championship, and I wish we went farther. But that's beside the point. End up getting drafted after that by the Golden State Warriors.
So by this time, you had decided like you were going to go NBA full time. When did that switch happen?
Well, I was a senior. So after you graduate, when did I switch to wanting to play basketball?
Because you had originally wanted to go to college to become a doctor, and then you got into college, you got kind of the scholarship dream did come true.
That's your uncle's scholarship
dream, and then at some point you were like, okay, I'm going to go play basketball full time.
Yeah, halfway through my school, I think I said that earlier. That like halfway through my second, third years, there was something in me that just felt like I wanted to give it more. Yeah. Being a pre-med student takes a lot of your time, and I couldn't do both well. And I felt like if I wanted to do school, I could always come back. If I wanted to go to med school, I could always come back. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I had a chance. I wanted to see. And, I said that with my parents. I said that with my family. I told them, yo, listen, you know that investment that you guys made in me to come to America? Well, I'm about to go gamble it on this dream of being a basketball player. What's the odds of making it? Maybe 1 in a million. Like, oh, man. They were like, what? What are you talking about? And it really was a serious, I know I'm making light of it, but it was a serious conversation that we had to have, my family and I. I am happy that I stuck with my gut because as a human being, I hate regret. I hate what ifs. I never want to leave something and say, what if I didn't give it my all? And this is one of those situations where I felt it in my heart. And basketball was really the first thing. I always wanted to be a doctor, but it was more of a humanitarian thing. And like me wanting to have a secure job and all these different things. But basketball gave me another level of passion, of something that I really wanted to do. And I pushed past my limits, like I said. So I told my parents, this is what I want to do. And, oh, man, they were like, no, no, this is a horrible idea. I was like, this is what I'm doing. All right. And, just like every other parent will, just like every parent usually does, at the end of the day, they will give you their suggestions, but they have to leave it up to you to do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that
every kid goes and lives their life, right?
Right.
Everyone has to go find their own way in life.
I'm sure you had some of that in your own journey as well. But I chose this path, and I said I was going to. I'm happy that they made it hard for me. Not hard, but I'm happy that they made me really think about it because, sometimes we all want people to just come and support our dreams. But I think part of the thing that gives you the push through factor is the difficulty in making the decision. Like if you understand the gravity of the decision that you're making, then you really have to you solidify in yourself that no matter what, I'm going to make this thing happen because they are doubting me or they think that this is a dumb idea. So I have to make this thing work. So that gave me a little bit more push through. And so in the rest of my career, in the rest of my college career, maybe you could see some of that in my activity, and the way that I thought about it is I can't lose,
Yeah.
So luckily for me, and just God just protected me through the injury and brought me back and gave me the ability to heal. I was drafted into the NBA, first round.
Yeah.
First round, bro. The last pick in the first round. First off, you have to understand the reason why this is so cool for me is, there's a lot of reasons why it's so cool. But, even I started off, they won't let me play in high school. I skipped high school, went to college to play. I started off as a practice player, that somebody that people laughed at. Matter of fact, opposing teams used to laugh at me because I would be in the layup lines before the game, but I wouldn't play. So I'll be doing these dunks and stuff, knowing fully well that I didn't need to save any energy for the game. And they were people would be ooh and ahhing, but then the opposing bench would be like, "You're not even gonna play, man. Go sit down somewhere." Those kind of things, they irked me. And some of those guys I saw later in my career, and I had a lot to say when I played against them. There's some career highs in my. Anytime you see a career high, it was because of those kind of memories that I had in my head. But beside the point, there were so many memories going through my head. I was sitting at home with my family. I wanted to watch. I could have been in New York at the NBA draft, but I decided to watch the NBA draft with my family in Sacramento. At this point, my family had moved over to Sacramento. I think they were there, they moved to America my junior or senior year. And it was so important to me because I missed so much. I missed family time. They tried their best to be here every year and whatnot, but I missed being around my family. And so every summer or whatever, I try to be around them. So even this special moment, I wanted to be around my family. My dad was there, my mom was there, my siblings were there, and I'm sitting there waiting for my name to be called, nervous as hell. And they started calling numbers, and I was projected to be picked higher. But with my injury that I had my senior year, people were a little skeptical about picking me because they weren't sure how I was going to be.
Yep.
So 1 through 10 get called, 10 through 20 get called, 21, 22, 23. I'm supposed to be numbered anywhere in this range right here. So I'm like, yo, 24, 25, 26. I'm like, yo, I'm scared as hell. And
so you're sweating.
Yeah, no, I'm sweating because now, it's going to be really embarrassing, but it could also be really heartbreaking, And 29, after 29, the phone rings. And this is Coach Mark Jackson, who was the former coach of the Golden State Warriors. He says, "Big fella, you ready?" And after this, things started happening. Things started moving fast again. They started wait, what? Ready for what? My brain, look. With the 30th pick, the Golden State Warriors select Festus Ezeli out of Vanderbilt University from Lagos, Nigeria, or Benin City, Nigeria. I was like,
it's kind of mind blown.
What? Even now that I think about it, I actually really haven't thought about this memory too much. The first thing I did is I went over to hug my dad. And my dad is just kind of a stoic. He's one of those people that doesn't get too high or too low. And I went to hug my dad, and I just started crying on his shoulder. I don't think before this point that I'd really ever hugged my dad. Like, we were more like we're not. He's not
Yeah.
someone we don't show those kind of emotions. And that's a whole nother topic. We don't really say I love you. Those kind of things. We didn't grow up doing that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Man, that was such a powerful moment in my life. So many different things happened in that 1 second. I was drafted, and my dad, it was like they got to see that dream that I had when I sat there to tell them, this thing is what I want to do. They got to see me in my dream in that 1 second. My mom and my dad, and I'm crying, and I'm thinking about those moments where I was trying to shoot the basketball and people would be laughing at me. I was thinking about those moments where, I was a practice player and I wanted to quit because I felt like, man, everybody else is so much better than me. I can't see the vision. I don't understand. I was thinking about those moments in school where I was juggling school and practice, and I'd be trying to figure it out, late to classes because I had practice, or late to practice because I had classes. It was so much chaos, and in all that chaos, something beautiful came out of it. And it was I remember, because in those moments I wanted to quit. Everything was so maddening. And I felt like, God, why are you giving me this dream just to take it away from me?
Yeah.
I was so sad and mad and all these things. And so when I got drafted into the NBA, it was like, what?
That's an amazing moment.
I can't even, I feel like I'm still not even doing it justice. Now a new journey begins. I'm in the NBA, and now I'm playing basketball for a living. And it's insane because I'm playing with and against the best of the best in the world. The best. You can't imagine. Wherever you think is the best, and whatever basketball you've seen, and you feel like, oh, I've seen this, when you have to play against it, it's different. It's like, whoa, the game is faster. Everybody's doing stuff I've never seen before with the ball. I'm like, yo, got to start over again.
Yeah.
Now I'm the bottom of the total poll. I'm a rookie. I'm starting off on the team. They're like, yo, we have these two shooters on our team. One of them, Steph Curry, is this guy, and he hasn't played in a couple of years, but he kind of shoot the ball. We got another guy, Klay Thompson. He's still figuring this thing out, but he can shoot the ball too. And we have a couple other guys, and Draymond Green was in my draft class. Harrison Barnes was in my draft class. Kent Bazemore was in my class. And all these guys we're like, oh man, we feel like we might have an okay team this year. We have some good talent, but we gotta grow. So we start off with a summer league, which is what the young guys have to play when they get in. Just kind of get used to the rules of the game, all these different things. Well, we go through summer league, and before summer league, we're practicing. Our practice is hard because we have a lot to prove. As me, I'm mad that I got picked number 30. I'm still mad about that because there's people out there. I'm like, man, that's crazy. You thought he was better than me. Draymond is mad that he got picked number 35 after 33 or 35, one of those. And he's mad about that. Harrison is, he feels like he should have been picked higher. He was picked number 7 though, but he felt like he could have picked. And so we all had something to prove. Kent Bazemore, Klay Thompson was coming out. I guess he had, he was kind of a forgotten guy too. So we had a lot to prove in that summer league. We go through that summer league undefeated. We kicked everybody's, dude, it was insane. We won by 20 or something every game. Yeah. That was the start of our careers as NBA players. And they were like, because before we played summer league, they told us, yo, summer league is different. All these guys are grown men, and this is different than the college that you guys know. So we go through that. We kind of wreck shop. And they were like, nah, but you still haven't played in the NBA, though. You haven't played in the real NBA, because that's different. So we go through preseason, and, preseason they were right. It was a higher level than summer league, because everybody, now we have Steph. I'm watching Steph in practice. I'm like, yo, when you guys said he could shoot, you didn't tell me he could do that, Yeah. And, I watch these guys work every day, and we all work so hard because everybody has something to prove. It's always important to have hungry guys. And I was a part of a team who had won only 18 or something, 18 or 18 games the year before out of, I think it was a lockout year the year before. So I think they only played 66 games, but 18 out of 66 is horrible. We're the worst team in the NBA. coming into the year, Mark Jackson was the best coach that we had, and he gave us a lot of words of encouragement. Let us know you are a talented team that can do great things. You guys have to push through. He started giving us we believed in ourselves to say, yo, we thought, how stupid we were, is we thought we were going to win a championship our rookie years. We thought we would just walk into the NBA and say, give me that trophy. All these guys, we don't care about you, LeBron. We don't care about you, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, go sit down. We're winning the championship this year. This is how bold we are as rookies.
So you're coming off the summer league with major excitement.
Yeah, we are we're ready to go. So we start winning games. We're actually playing and winning games. This is insane. But let me go back to my story because I don't want to lose that part because that part is also important. Well, my first game in the NBA preseason. We have the schedule out, whatnot. You know what team is the first game I'm going to play against? I bet you can't guess. From the story I've told you so far.
The Lakers.
The Lakers are the first team I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing against Kobe Bryant. My first game in the NBA. Remember when my uncle sat next to me and said, you never know?
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It's so important to speak things into existence. You just really never know.
So this is 6 years later after that game, basically.
This is
7 years.
I'm 20. So this is 6 years later.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
Dude, I'm standing in the center circle. The game's about to start. Kobe comes up to me to dap me up. And I felt like he was moving in slow-mo, I'm like, yo, I tried to pull my arm, but I couldn't move. And then when I finally pulled my arm up, my hand's shaking, and I'm like, yo, this is insane. I'm playing against Kobe. I feel like for the first half of the game was me just watching Kobe play. Man, bro, you're good, man. Oh man, it was incredible. But somewhere around there, that competitive person kicks back in, right? Because at the end of the day, the story doesn't end at me being a fan of you. That's great.
Yeah.
I want to kick your ass. That's the thing that is always going to give me life is the fact that I want to win. And I told you, I don't want to let my teammates down. And there's a whole bunch of things that come with it. We all work so hard, so we can't let that moment go. We win that game, by the way. Gives us so much confidence because we're playing against a team that was super stacked. Matter of fact, before that season started, they thought that they were going to win the championship because it was Kobe, it was Dwight Howard, there's a bunch of Steve Nash, all these different people. People felt like, oh man, that's it, that's them. Well, it shows you that anything can really happen because they were injury riddled and they had a bunch of stuff going on. We are now this young, confident team. We go through the year, and I don't want to give you the whole long story, but we go through that year and we win 55 games. I mean, I think that might have been a record or something. I don't remember, but I think it was something up there. Wow, this young team, and we set a goal to win 55 games, and we won 53, and it was insane. We make the playoffs for the second time in 20 years. It was something incredible. And before that playoff starts, people start doubting you. They tell us, yo, they're a young team, they're flashy, but they're not going to win a damn playoff series. They're going to be out of here in no time. They have no experience. They're rookies. I told you, we thought we were going to win a championship, so it was all firing us up. We go through and play Andre Iguodala, who was playing for the Denver Nuggets at the time. And his team was number one in the league, and we were, I think they were, no, I don't think they were number one, but they were doing really well, number one, home games, whatever. And we played through that series. Everybody thought we were going to lose in 4, 5, 6 games. They thought we were going to lose. Nobody picked us winning. Nobody even picked us going to 7 games. We beat them in 6.
Yep.
Insane. It was just one of those moments where, I've continued to understand that you can't look outside for validation.
Interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? I mean, that's such a powerful realization. I think that took me my whole life to figure out, how did it happen for you?
To be honest, it's an ongoing process of figuring that out. It's not something that you figure out one time and it's like, okay, now I never need external validation because winning a trophy is external validation, right? Like you want external validation, but it's hard to work to do something when there's no validation, when you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I've constantly had experiences in my own personal journey where I don't see an external validation for myself, and I see it. I was able to go from not playing to becoming somebody who can play in the NBA. Now I've seen it with my NBA team, who I actually saw with my college team, coming from they were academic school, right? And then we go and win a championship as seniors, first time in 40 years. I think that these are all things that they just add something else in your checkbook, in your brain, in your experiences. It just makes you believe a little bit more about the things that you can accomplish. So I think having a team in the NBA now who went through the same things, like, okay, I did that in high school, I did that in college, but can you really do that in the NBA? And then my team starts to do that same thing in the NBA. It's like, wow, you really can achieve anything you put your mind to. If you're willing to work for it, you can achieve it. And so we started to work, and we thought we could win an NBA championship my rookie year, like I said, but we go through the year, we win the first round, we had some injuries and some setbacks. Matter of fact, I tore my knee up the last game of the season in the regular season. So I had to play the first round of the playoffs in this big brace again. Let's say I re-teared that knee, and I'm struggling with that. Some other guys had some injuries. So we realized really quickly that your dream doesn't just come to reality just because you wish for it, right? Things are going to come and try to push you off that track. It's like matter of fact, not just pushed, we got hammered to the side of the head. There's people tore groins, people hurt their knees, so like crazy things started happening out of nowhere. So we had to understand what it was to be on this journey together. I missed my whole second year with the knee injury. Watched my teammates go through the year, and if you know about the earlier part of my journey, you know how much it was killing me to watch. I had so many moments where I wanted to do the same thing, just jump on the court. We go through that year. We actually had a pretty okay year. Went to the playoffs again, which is it was really great experience for a lot of my guys. We played against the Clippers. They beat us in 7 games, which we still could have won, but we still had more injuries again.
Yep.
Third year, we had a coaching change. Now we have Steve Kerr. They replaced Mark Jackson with Steve Kerr. And it was like we had to start over with this new coach. How are we going to do? But we're primed. Now we're healthy. I'm healthy again. And we're going through this new year. And we're like, all right, let's see what we can do this year. And let's make some noise. And we start going through the year. And, wow, we're winning games. We're going through stuff. And it's like, wow, this new system is actually – it's all right. We like this new system. We're winning games with it. We're playing. We're having fun. We're passing the ball over the place. And, wow, this is pretty cool. And had a great group of guys, man. We had a great group of guys, and so it made it really fun to come to work every day. We go through that whole year, and then we make it to the playoffs again.
Yeah, and this is 2015 now, right?
2015, we make it to the playoffs. And this is my third year in the league. And, each round the playoffs were tough. First round, we had the New Orleans Pelicans. We had to go through Anthony Davis, and it was brutal. The next round was the Memphis Grizzlies, who were, man, they were so tough. Nobody thought we could beat them because we were labeled a jump shooting team. And so everybody thought that we had the guts or the grit to be the team that was so tough. And they pound you in the middle. They had 2 great big guys. And now I have really had to put my hard hat on and we had to go to work. We won that series. Matter of fact, we were down 2-1 and we had to really gut it out to win that series. Now the next round was the Houston Rockets, who were just like us. They shoot jump shots, but they're better at shooting jump shots than we were. And they were just flat out just pure scorers with, James Harden and was Trevor Ariza on the team at the time, and a bunch of scorers. They had Corey Brewer, they had I think Patrick Beverly maybe. Yeah, they just had a bunch of people on that team. They felt like they were a high scoring team. This is the Western Conference Finals. We were lucky to have been there, according to analysts and experts. This is going to be easy. Matter of fact, they beat us so much during the regular season. At one point, it was crazy. They almost set the record of threes on us because they beat us so bad. So nobody gave us a chance for that either. We won that game and that series in 6 games.
Yep.
Now we are in the NBA Finals. We go through the NBA Finals, and it was insane. Couldn't believe it. Playing against LeBron James, And it's like, wow, we're actually here. We're at the, dude, there's media from all over the world here. People from Vietnam here with a mic. Yo, what do you think about, like, wow, that's insane. The people in Vietnam know who I am. Anyway, we go through all this. And like I said, I'm trying to keep it short to a certain degree, but we win this series.
It was an incredible series. I was at the games. It was amazing to watch. The energy was just electric in the stadium.
It's one of those things where, like, I've actually never heard the arena as loud as my rookie year when we played the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, the first round. It was the third game. So the third game was where we get to play at home. It's the first playoff series that they've seen in a long time. And so these people were, man, the Bay Area was out that game. Boy, I couldn't hear anything. I felt like I had to go take Tylenol and everything after the game because they were ready. Before the game started, Warriors, Warriors. Now we make it to the finals a few years later. It's the same thing. People are rocking the whole place. But now it's like, it's the final, so tickets are a little bit more expensive. So now you have a bunch of celebrities and people, Jay-Z and Beyonce is bombing. All these crazy stuff happening. I'm like, yo, we're at the NBA Finals. But we go through this series, and it was hard. We fought tooth and nail the whole game. Playing against LeBron James. And he really is the greatest player of our generation because it felt unreal. Two of his other stars got injured, and it was harder to even guard him with the guy's injury. It just felt like he got faster and faster every game. He jumped higher every game. It just was, what do you do with this guy? I remember before Game 6, it's the closing game for us. And I remember Iguodala in practice the day before. He was like, yo, I can't do it anymore. After this game, if we don't win, we have to win this game. If we don't win this game, I'm sorry, guys. I can't help y'all. This is the game right here. I'm tired, But it just shows, and I want to give him his just credit because he is the greatest player of our generation.
And LeBron was a machine in that series.
Insane.
He was. Insane. It felt like Bowser in Mario Brothers, like you can't just block him. He's just running through Mario. Yes. Like if you touch him, you die. He was just carrying the whole team himself. It was crazy to watch.
And I can't imagine what it was like watching as a fan, seeing those kind of battles, especially having a team to root for, and because the energy from the Bay Area was it was incredible, And anyway, we go on to win the NBA championship, and it was just one of those things where the Bay Area was crazy. Bay Area was nuts. Won an NBA championship, man. Remember how way back when, let's go back to the start. You can't play in high school. Let's won an NBA championship, bro. In fact, at the clinching game, I had one of my best games actually in the playoffs. And it was just one of those moments where, if you just stay with it, if you stay with those tough moments, if you stay with, keep fighting, like things are going to happen in your journey that make you feel like you're not able. People are going to tell you you're not able. The whole world is going to look like you're not able, but you got to keep going. And to be honest, I was scared. After we won the championship, I was scared as hell. You want to know why?
Well, yeah. What happened?
I had this weird anxiety. I felt like I would wake up from this dream. I thought I was going to wake up, man. I thought it was a dream. There's no way. This doesn't even make sense. Where did I even come from to go win an NBA title? There's how many NBA greats never won an NBA title? Yeah. So we're drinking champagne and stuff, and I'm kind of tipsy. And now I'm like really, really paranoid, right? So I go back to my room. I go back to my hotel, and I'm laying there. I really don't want to sleep because I'm like, yo, if I sleep, I'm going to wake up from this dream. So I'm trying my best not to sleep, but, I've been drinking champagne, so I pass out. By an hour or 2 hours later, I jump up. Oh, shoot.
Like,
I'm still it's real. I'm still in my jersey, bro. Like, I'm still we went to turn up with all my stuff on. It was still real. It was still real, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, God really will give you everything you ask for. You have to be patient. You have to just gut it through, man. And I'm an NBA champion.
So tell me about going from that high of, winning the championship to getting injured again, and how that, what was that contrast like?
The thing about being a winner is every time you win, the only way to go is down, right? So people start
Yeah.
betting against you. They're like, yo, they're not going to do it again, right? So we go through that summer and we're all, we're celebrating. But at the same time, we're like, it's not really as sweet as it could be because we're like, yo, we want to win it again. And so we're all talking trash to each other back and forth. Like, yo, I want to see you guys in training camp. Yeah, I can't wait to bust your butt, Bogut. Yeah, I can't wait to bust your butt, Draymond. Yo, Steph. We're all talking back and forth to each other because we're excited to come back and play against each other. And, it's the best group of guys that I've been around. We all had a good time together, and we worked our tails off together. Come back the next following season, and in our minds, all is on our minds is we're going for this gold. Right? We're going for the gold. And we start playing the season. And, dude, we can't even – I think the preseason and the practice was the hardest part of that season. We were trying to kill each other in practice. And then when we got to the games, it was like we had two different – like it's like we had two starting lineups on our team. We went through that season. We started off 24-0. Started off the whole season. We couldn't even lose. It was crazy. Steph hit some game winners. Guys were playing out of their minds. Barbosa, most space. Sean Livingston. Draymond. You got Stephen Clay. We got Harrison Barnes. We got Brandon Rush. We got Justin Holiday. We got a team, man. We got a squad. And we're really going in. We break the record for the most wins in NBA history as we go through that season.
Yeah.
Everybody is like, yo, that team is winning the championship. They already gave it to us. They were like, yo, nobody can beat that team. It's just, no. How do you beat? They're so loaded. They have so much talent. How do you beat this team?
That season was like 90% of games, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, we were just destroying things. And it was easy for us. And then we go through the playoffs and then we start facing some adversity. Now it's like injuries, right? That's the one thing that can take us out. And playoff was a different battle than the regular season, too. So some teams were ready for us. They scouted us. They understood that we have shooters that we depend on. And they understood our plays. And so now it's a little different. Now it's a little tougher. But we're going through games and we're doing our thing. Now we meet the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder at the time, this is the Western Conference Finals, and they are loaded. They have Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. That's all you need to know. That team was incredible. They were kicking our behind. Matter of fact, I think they won the first game at our place, which was kind of a shock to us because we're like, we don't really lose at home. So they beat us, and they end up winning, and then they were up 3-1 against us. They were 3 games to 1. They only have 1 game to beat us. And that's when Game 5 – is it Game 6, Clay, or Game 5, Clay? I don't know how they say it, but that's where Klay Thompson goes ballistic. And he starts going crazy in the game. At the end of the game, we win. We're up 3. They're up 3-1. They could have easily won that game.
Yep.
But Klay would not let us lose, man. He goes crazy. The team we just start getting our energy back. We start getting our things together. We start winning games. It goes down to Game 7. We actually beat this team. We came back from a 3-1 deficit. Now it's like, yo, this team, you really can't beat this team. This is insane. They were down 3-1 to 2 All-Stars and 2, future Hall of Famers. That's insane. No way. Now playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James, people are like, no way. They're not going to be able to beat this team. And they were right to a certain degree. They were right, and we were up 3-1. Now we had 1 game to close it out, and the season's over. Well, Draymond was suspended that game because something happened. There was an altercation. Now, during that game, I think the next game, Bogut got injured. Mind you, I got injured. Steph got injured. I was like, yo, what is going on? How did this happen? What's going – like, now we start losing games. Now it's like we go from having the best hand, and then LeBron is on the other side. So it's not like we're not going to just walk to the – there's no way. Right? We have LeBron, we have Kyrie, we have Kevin Love, and they start, going crazy. And they end up beating us. They came back from a 3-1 deficit. We just came back from a 3-1 deficit. And then it's funny how, you asked me about the highs and lows. That's what sports is. Like one day you win, the next day you lose. You can't never get too comfortable winning. We won the year before, we lost the next year to the same team. They lost the year before, they won the next year. They were injured one year, we were injured the next year. It's just that is this game of life that you can never really. There's these little variations and the variables that happen in life that you can't account for. You kind of have to just show up with your best game, with your best game plan. And unluckily for us, we were not able to cap off that season. I still, till today, wish we did, because we would have been the best team in NBA history if we won that championship.
It was so close.
It was so close.
A crazy series. Yeah,
but that's life, like I said. But the worst part about it for me was that I got injured a little bit after that. Because after that team, after we lost that championship, Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors. We had to break our team up. I signed with the Portland Trailblazers, but it just started to spiral down from there. It just I got injured, and I wasn't able to play with the Trailblazers. And I was so excited too, because I felt like that team was very much like the team I came from, which is a team that was run and gun, shoot the three very well. I felt like my presence was going to be very good for the team. But it didn't work out the way I wanted. And just like everything else in life, now I had to rebuild again. But this time it was much tougher than what I expected. I had a really serious injury, and I hurt my knee. I had to be the first, I was the first player in NBA history to have a cartilage transplant to my knee.
Yeah.
It was a really tough time for me. It was a really tough moment for me. It was something that really I did not know how strong I was. I always thought I was strong, and I always say I'm a beast. Or people say it, and I agree with them, whatever. But I didn't know how strong I was until I had to deal with something that heavy. I couldn't walk up and down stairs, bro. Like, I was really, really hurt. And ended up having the surgery in 2017. Knowing fully well there was going to be a 2-year recovery. Well, that 2-year recovery became a 3-year recovery. Some complications and things happened, and we're not going to get into all that. But it really has made me realize that life doesn't always go the way you plan.
Yeah.
But back to the initial thing that I said is you have to keep your foot on the gas pedal. You asked me why I always stay positive. I stay positive because what good is negativity going to do you? How are you going to get to that point? How are you going to play basketball in college if you stayed negative because people said you couldn't do it, because the surrounding situation said that you couldn't do it? How are you going to make it? You can't let the world stop you and then you stop yourself. And so I had to learn, I always knew that I was strong and I was a positive person, but this really tested me. And I was in a wheelchair for 6 months.
Wow.
And I go from playing the NBA Finals to being in the wheelchair for 6 months the next year. It broke it. Dude, if I can tell you, it broke me. As a human being, it really broke me, because I'm a 6'11" man that walks around and everybody is always amazed at how tall I am. I had to be in a wheelchair, moving all over the place. Talk about the change in perspective for me in my life. And I had to learn after 6 months. 6 months, I lost all the muscle in my legs, bro. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to get muscle again. I had to learn how to squat and move and do all these things that I didn't even have to think about before. And I have known through my life's journey that things happen to you for a reason. They happen to you to teach you something, and they give you the strength. And God is somehow going to give you the strength if you keep pushing. And so He's given me the strength to keep pushing for these years. And I'm really grateful for it, because I can say now, I started playing ball again. I'm working out. I'm doing all these things, getting ready for an ability to play. And then coronavirus hits, right? So it's just this constant rebuild. You have to constantly stay on your toes. Life is never going to ever be easy for anybody. You don't just get to say, oh, I'm the greatest now, right? even when you're the greatest and you win the championship, you got to come back and win it again next year, right? There's no just staying put. And that's the beauty of life, too. Life is like this river that ebbs and flows, you know? Sometimes you're high and sometimes you're low, but it keeps you appreciative of those high moments. You know, if
Yeah.
you're always high, you lose touch with reality. You don't appreciate it anymore. I appreciate so much the ability to walk. Forget about basketball.
Yes. Yep.
Walk. So
That resonates with me so much because, you know, I had this injury 8 months ago. Also, it's just this, you know, pretty sudden injury. I flipped over my bicycle and broke both my arms. I don't know if I think we talked about this. We saw each
yeah, I
other
saw you
afterwards, but
after.
yeah, I wasn't able to there was a period of time when I couldn't use either arm, and my wife was feeding me and pulling my
Jeez.
pants up, and um, every day I would ask myself, like, do I wish this didn't happen? You know, I'd wake up and ask myself, oh, do I wish I wasn't injured? And it was always no. I was like, okay, I'm okay with this experience, and this experience is here to teach me something, to teach me to be grateful for, you know, being able to have had the experience of being able to use my arms, or maybe one day I'll be able to use them again, or to be able to like have such a supportive family that's able to, you know, that's taking care of me and there to support me. And I never felt that I wished things were different. And that gratitude, I think, is really what helped sustain me, you know, because I was working out a lot. I was, you know, exercising. And then, you know, to go from that to zero and you can't do anything was like really tough. Kind of, you know, probably a little mini version of what I'm hearing from you with the you know, being confined to a wheelchair. It's just so hard. And then
It's
so
incredible, bro.
to be able to have that positive attitude and to be thankful for that experience in a way really helped me get through it, you know?
Did somebody give you that? Did you get that from somebody? Did you have to talk to somebody? Did you have family? What is the support that gave you that perspective of positivity? Because that's the hardest thing to get when you're in the middle of a dark period.
Yeah, you know, I had been doing this gratitude journal for a couple years beforehand, about a year and a half, and I had also been doing this practice of visualizing negative things happening, a stoic practice called negative visualization, where I think about, oh, what if I got injured, or what if something bad happened? And then I visualize it in my mind, and then when I came back to reality, I'd realize, oh, actually, my life is so amazing as it is right now, you know. And then it was also kind of like a mental inoculation against feeling trapped if something bad happened. So I remember when I had that injury, and it was kind of unreal. I'd never been seriously injured ever before. And then I'm lying on the sidewalk and I could feel I was messed up because my tooth was broken, actually. Like after I hit the ground, I could feel like the jaggedness of my front tooth being broken off. And I tried to get up and I couldn't move my arm. Like I couldn't move. And I was like, oh, this is a problem. Like I was in shock. So I didn't realize how badly I was injured. I was just like, this is bad. And you know, they called the ambulance and got a hold of my wife, and then them riding to the hospital in the back of the ambulance. And I just kept repeating to myself, it's like, you know, I've had an amazing life and I've had so many amazing experiences, and I'm grateful for those experiences. And I'm really grateful for the paramedics who are here to like be able to take me to the hospital. My wife is here, and I just kind of repeated almost like a mantra. I was repeating all these things I was grateful for. And I remember I was being wheeled in the hospital by these paramedics, and I was just like, hey, I just want to tell you guys. I was kind of lisping because there's blood coming out of my mouth and I didn't have my front tooth. But I was like, I'm thankful for you, you know, to the guy who was like wheeling me into the
Oh yeah, you were
ER.
definitely on drugs for sure. You
Yeah,
were on drugs.
not yet actually. That was
For
next. But
real?
yeah, I was just on I think the adrenaline from the shock of it was
Wow,
really carrying me.
you're like a Buddha. You're like a Zen monk, bro. For you to have in that
Well,
moment the state of mind to say I'm thankful for these things,
yeah.
that's very impressive. Man.
Well, I think that's what helped sustain me because, you know, being able to be thankful and to be really present, and a lot of meditation has really helped me with that, the ability to be present in the experience and not need it to be different. You know, even though there was a lot of pain and a lot of anxiety over like, will I be able to use my arms again? You know, what's going to happen? I was able to just be with it and not need things to be different. And I think that really helped me get through it.
Wow. See, um, mine came from I had never dealt with mental battles like this before. I had never dealt with depression before. But you will go through these things because you feel so, for me, I felt so alone. I
Yeah.
was used to arenas with 20,000, 25,000 people. And now my arena every day was the hospital where I had to go every day to learn how to move my leg
Yeah.
by myself. It was me and my girlfriend at the time and my mom and sometimes my dad. They went on. Everybody had their shift, right? It was like
Yeah.
sometimes my brothers would come and they'd be there, and when they got tired of me, then my mom would be there. And then they got tired, my girlfriend would be there. And then my dad would be there, and it was like this rotating shift, and it made me really appreciative of the people. Not that I'm not grateful for fans or for the limelight that the NBA brings, because I'm very grateful for that, because it gives me opportunity to do a lot of things that I normally wouldn't be able to. But when the doors shut at night, it made me appreciative of the people who are there. That's the part
Sure.
that I mean, I've always been a pretty grateful person, and I think that I always try to show my family that, because they were always number one for me, and I try to even go home as much as I could, and show my friends that I care. But man, I just didn't understand how much my friends loved me, how much my family loved me, man, until like they had to take me to the bathroom,
Yep.
and brush my teeth every day and bring me food every couple hours. And dude, it's very possible to do the first week. The first week is very possible to do, but 3, 4 months, yo, it's like, all right, man, you still there? You still
Yeah.
sitting there? Hey,
Then
go
you
do
know
something for
someone really
yourself.
loves you.
Yeah, and for me, it was really beautiful, and so that's where my gratitude came from. My gratitude came from having these people and having these people listen to me, having people to talk to during that time. My parents are the wisest people I know, and every day they've been through so much. They went through wars in their childhood, and dealing with the injury, as hard as it was for me, it was still kind of trivial to some of the things that they had to deal with. And so having them for support and words of wisdom, they always told me stories. My mom said something to me that was really important. I think that people who are listening should also take this to heart. I was crying one day because I wanted to quit. I had a couple surgeries, and like I said, I had some complications, and I was so mad because I felt like, why is God punishing me? I work so hard. Like I work so hard. I try to do the right things. Um, I don't cheat. Dude, I'm a good person, man. Why? Why are bad things happening to me? I feel like I'm a good person. My mom said something that was, I was expecting, the usual, like, oh man, it's gonna be okay. My mom said something. She said, "Are you strong? How do you know? How do you know when a man is strong?" And I said, "I don't know, man. I really am not in the mood for this right now." And so she was like, "How do you know when a man is strong?" I said, I don't know. Like, he has muscles. I don't know. She said, "No. You know a man is strong because he carries heavy weights. You are strong. My son, you are strong. You have shown me that you're strong. From all the things that you've done in your life, from the way that you've even surprised me with the journey that you've been on, you're strong. Now the weight is heavy. You have to carry it because you are strong and you can carry it." And the whole point of that was, it changed it from why me to who else is it going to be but me? There was nobody else that could
Yeah.
carry that weight but me. And so it changed me. I stopped complaining. When things get hard, it was more like nobody else can do this but me. And so every day, every time it gets hard, every time I've had to do things that are tough for me, every time I've been in a situation where I feel like, why is my journey taking so long? Why is this one this? Why is things not the way I want them to be? I always go back to that. You're strong.
Wow.
We can do hard things. Like it's not like you don't go through hard things to then be clear of it. It's almost like a video game. You clear one level, then you go to the next level, which is harder, and then you go to the next level, it's harder, but you're stronger because of the first few levels. Now you can beat that level, and you can beat Bowser, like you said, full circle, because you had been through all those things that led you to that point that you can do that. And so when I looked at my journey and the things that I've been through, I understood that I was just getting the strength. And to me, it makes me understand. And so, and it also changed another thing for me. I appreciate a lot of things now that I never thought about before. I talked to you about walking. I told you about a bunch of things, family, whatnot. But I also appreciate being a voice for the people who don't have a voice. I never thought about the perspective of the man who's in a wheelchair until I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. There are people who are their whole lives in a wheelchair. And you can't understand what it is unless you're in a wheelchair. You can't understand hunger unless you're in a third world country and you don't have anything in your fridge to eat. You can't understand not being able to afford things when you come to a country and, missing your family for months and years unless you're in that situation. And I've been in all these different situations, and God has given me the ability to come out of them and be like, okay, what are you going to do with this information? So for me, it's not just about me coming out of it and saying I'm the greatest because I'm the beast. No, I've had to rebuild myself over and over and over. And now it's like, okay, I want to take that information and inspire people with it. There are so many people who are showing faith in the face of crazy odds, insurmountable odds. So I want to. They inspire me. I want to share their stories. Those people who are doing all these amazing things and continue to show faith every day, they inspire me, and I want them to inspire other people because all of us are going through pain, and we're going through challenges, and we're going through adversity, and we're going through our highs and lows, and we can all help each other the same way that people have helped me with their stories. So that's like my next thing is as I'm working my way to play in the NBA again, I want to tell stories of people who are, rebuilding themselves. I call it rebuilding the beast.
I love that. That should be a podcast, like we've talked
That
about.
is
You should
exactly what it's going to be.
You should launch a podcast where you bring on people and tell their stories of resilience. Like I think that hearing your story and hearing about how you've been able to take this mindset of resilience when you're in this like period of deep tragedy that's inspiring. That's amazing, and I think that people will hear that and they'll take heart in their own struggles. We're all
Mm-hmm.
human beings on this journey and it's not a linear journey. Like you said, it's a river, and there's ups and downs. And I think that the more part of my goal with this podcast is to showcase that in every person, in every story that I tell. And I think the world would be better if more people do that. I'm excited to listen to it when you launch it.
No, I'm excited to hear yours because, and this is a cool thing. Like we can both do the same thing and get different things out of it. But also at the same time, you can reach people that I can't reach. And to me, I'm even more excited about that because for me, it's not about the clout. I don't care about any of that stuff. For me, it's about I want this kid who is in Africa. I want this kid who is in China. I want this kid who is in India. I want this kid who is in London to hear some story that makes them feel like, maybe I can. And they become the next president of their country. But not just that I can, but I can be a good person while I do this. Yeah. Like this world right now is so freaking broken, man. Like everybody is, not everybody, I hate generalizations, but there is so much of me that we forget that like, we're not going to survive. I don't know if everybody knows this. We don't get to survive this journey. All right. We're going to leave this earth at some point. Yeah. And when we leave, there's going to be other people. I want to leave this earth better for my kids. I want to live this earth better for your kids. I want our kids to be friends. Like I hate this idea that we all have to have this me versus you attitude. It's just this. Where do we go from here with this?
Yeah.
It hasn't worked for us in the past. Like, why do we keep doing this? And so, I don't know. I think maybe from my path, when I can show everybody's different struggles, maybe that will also help us understand that we are the same and the things that we deal with and the thoughts that we have and the struggles that we have. So that's my little contribution to planet Earth.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I think that's a good place to wrap it.
Damn, hour and a half.
That's amazing.
I told you, man, that was the short version too.
All right, that was my conversation with Festus. I really loved his story, partially because it was such a rise, like from never touching a basketball to the NBA in 6 years, but partially because it reminds me of my own experience, going through some pretty difficult times after reaching success and then persevering and surviving through it. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you like it, rate us 5 stars on iTunes, and you can also hit me at Justin Kahn on Twitter for feedback. I love feedback, want to hear what you guys think. So thanks for listening, and I will see you guys next week. Love you all. Goodbye.